Hi and welcome back to my channel. Good to see you. In the last couple of videos, we were looking at some of the trails in Merci, Quebec, right here, and Terrebonne. This time we're going to be checking out a trail network in a place called Domaine Vert, and this is located just outside of the city of Blainville, Quebec, which is right here. So the Domaine Vert offers multiple use trails. They have a variety of hiking trails, and obviously here, as we see, some mountain biking trails. I went in with low expectations, just seeing the topography. It looked pretty flat on Google Maps. Actually, it was really surprising it's not the case. The mountain bike trails are actually really nice. There's enough elevation change to offer a nice variety of flow to the trails. A lot of the trails run along creeks and ravines and things, and it just offers enough elevation change and a variety in the topography to make the trails fun and interesting. So it's anything but flat. It was just a real surprise, and I enjoyed it a lot. Also, you notice here too that they have a pool that's also available too, that you can kind of break up the ride a bit and get refreshed before you go back out. Overall, it was just a really awesome destination, and let's take a look at some of the trails, and then we can get into the specifics of the pros and cons of each trail. You can get your warm-up on this little pump track that they have with a few little wood obstacles and some skiddies and stuff. It's kind of a little fun little spot to start out on. Pump track. So here you just follow the sign and take a green trail. It's a flat green trail, and that will bring you into the park and let you access some of the other mountain bike trails. It's a pretty easy trail. There's nothing too special about it. So we left the parking area and took the trail called PRIMEAU, this green trail here, hung a right, and then we're going to take a trail called Blainville right here. Blainville is a fairly flowy trail. It traverses a pine forest. It has punchy climbs, but nothing too difficult. I wouldn't say it's a keystone trail or the best trail here, but I would definitely add it to the list. It's pretty fun. It has some pretty fun sections. The dirt's really nice too. It's got kind of that reddish pine needle type look to it, which is like my favorite. So let's go check it out. So this is a pretty heavily edited cut of this trail. I'm showing all the highlight parts, but if you want to check out the full unedited version, then there'll be a link in the description, so you can check that out if you want. Oh yeah, nice. It's kick ass. I love pine needle dirt. It's amazing. So now that we just finished Blainville, we're going to take a short ride on this connector here called Sainte-Thérèse. And it brings you to the double track, and then it brings you to another trail called BoisBriand, which is right here like this. This trail it's a short trail. The grading on it is fairly flat. I would recommend it just because it's so short, but it's nothing too special. And then that'll dump you out on the one of the other connectors called Castor. So let's take a look at that one. Just a reminder, I have links to the full unedited cuts of the trails linked in the description if you're interested. Alright, so now we're going to go check out another trail here. So we're going to go do a little short backwards run on a trail called Budet. So we're going right in here, and then we're going to go backwards here. And then that gives us access to a trail right here called BoisBriand. And it's just a little connector trail that leads up to and connects to the BoisBriand trail. But it's a cool little trail. Pretty short. But let's go check it out. Nice sand. So this is really nice sand. Oh shit! Wow. Jeez, man, put a railing on it. Some people say put a ring on it. I say put a railing on it. Alright, so after we finish that trail, that will dump us back out to one of the main connector trails called Castor. So we can take that right from here, follow Castor all the way in a westerly direction, and that'll bring us all the way out here to the trailhead of a trail called RAVIN. Now, RAVIN's a pretty interesting trail. It's a black diamond trail. It follows a little creek, ravine kind of thing. It's not really a black diamond in terms of technical aspects. It's more of a blue. It's a pretty flowy trail, but the climbs I find they kind of ruin the flow a little bit. It's a trail that you could try. I don't think it's a trail that I'd be attracted to do over and over again, and I think that'll come across in the video. So let's go check that one out. So again, these cuts are edited to show a little bit more flow, and if you want to see the full version of the video, again, they're linked in the description, and it'll give you a little bit better idea of the types of climbs involved, things like that. Tight. Tight. I like how this trail ran along the creek like that. I like how the dirt was really well defined with a little bit of sand mixed into it. You'll hear me panting towards the end of the video, and that's just the super punchy climbs that you don't see in this edit. Alright, so when you're done finished RAVIN, that'll spit you back out onto one of the connector trails, the same one, Castal. So you take Castal back, going west, just loop back, all the way back, and you end up in this intersection spot here. And then you hit Shadow. So if you notice Shadow, the elevation change right here, it is what it is. Nothing too memorable. It's not a trail that I would do over and over again. There are some fast-ish sections. It's pretty pedally, again, for the topography. So it's not a terrible trail. It's just nothing too memorable. So let's go check that one out. Nice. Oh, Rudy. I'm just remembering this trail looking back at the video now. And so yeah, the front end of this trail was definitely more rooty than the back half of it. You'll see the back half kind of opens up and gets a little bit smoother and faster flowing. And again, for the full uncut version of this trail, there'll be a link in the description. Okay, so when you finish shadow, it's gonna spit you back out here onto this connector area. And then if you see a trail right here called Primo, so that's gonna be the next trail that we take. So if I zoom out, Primo's just highlighted here. It's a big long trail. Primo deserves like a little bit of an explanation here. If I highlight this, if you see where I'm placing my mouse here, so around the midpoint, there's an intersection here that meets one of the connectors, okay? So all this whole front section here, it's an okay trail. The thing is the front section it's a little bit flat and it's a little bit rooty, so it's hard to get the momentum going. And it seems to be like the back end has a little bit more flow to it, so it seems to be a little less rooty. So from this intersection right here, which is this connector, this middle connector, it seems to be a little bit more flowy. So I think the point that I'm trying to make is the back end starting from here seems to be a little bit better of a ride. It seems to be a little bit more enjoyable. So I think what I would do next time, the game plan would be to skip this whole front section, get on the number 12, it's an easy ride, go to the halfway point, meet this connector here, and then enter Primo right here at this halfway point. So let's go dive in and see what this thing looks like. Check out all the routes. And as usual, if you want to see what this trail looks like from start to finish, go ahead and find the link in the description. Here we're seeing some of the back section, the part that's after that connector that I was talking about. So there's less roots, it's a little more flowy, still some small climbs and such, but it just seems to roll overall better than the front part. Okay, so when you finish Primo, you come out at the start of a trail called CYCLOSPHERE right here. CYCLOSPHERE is another long trail that loops back, but this time on the other side of Sansia number 12 Green Trail. So going into this, I thought that it was going to be similar to Primo, so I was kind of like, oh, this is going to be a dredge. But actually, if you look at the way it's designed here, Primo's got a lot of snaky loops to it, and then CYCLOSPHERE is a little bit more, the way it's designed, it just flows a lot better, and surprisingly, they're just on the other side of the trail, there's not as many roots, and the dirt is really nice, and it's just overall, it flows a lot better. It's not as choppy, and it's not as chunky, and especially this last portion of it here, this tail end, it's flat, but it's really, really smooth, and you can get going like at a pretty good clip. It's a really fun, the tail end is really fun. So overall, I thought it was a really good trail, and I'd highly recommend CYCLOSPHERE. So I would say it's probably one of the keystone trails here. So let's go have a look at CYCLOSPHERE. So obviously there's a lot more flow to this trail versus Primo. The way it's designed, it just flows better. They kind of cut it into the side of the hill, and there's not as many sharp turns and things. And there's not as many roots, so you're not getting hung up as much as well. Tight. And remember, there's a link in the description if you want to see the longer edit of this trail. Yes, this is less rooty. So from this part on, it gets super fast. It's pretty flat. The elevation change's not too much, but it just really hard packed. A nice, beautiful little single track. It's super fast. It's so fun. You can just rip. This is towards the end of the trail. Keep an eye out for a few offshoots and alternative lines around this area. There's a couple of huge jumps that can be kind of fun if you want to play around for a bit.